I just have to take my headphones out. Is with grace and benevolence that I'm going to share this little share with you. I don't have too much battery power, but in my pocket, I've given thanks for the wild garlic, which smells beautifully garlicky. And I live in the English countryside, and wild garlic is a beautiful leaf herb plant to make pestos with, and or to add into some salad. And I'll show you what it looks like. So this leafy green, and if you're not sure, you can kind of rub it and give it a smell, and the smell will be a giveaway. And I learned about this when I was living in a community not far from where I live now, and some of the people that lived there mentioned it, and then one of my roommates would make pesto out of it and add it to salad, and of course it grows in abundance where I'm living, so it's really lovely to be able to pick some of it and eat it. And you might be able to hear the stream just over the fence there. I have had a little dip at times in that stream, which is pretty glorious. It's still cool and fresh here in England, but the sun is out, and it really is a glorious sunny day. And I don't necessarily get out for a walk every single day, but I usually I want to, but it doesn't happen. Some days are proper lazy days where lots of sleeping and resting, and a duvet day I call it, where you just really want to rest. And for a few days I've been feeling the urge to repot my indoor plants. I did buy some flowers and seeds for spring potting, and have a good friend coming to help me make a plant bed so that I can grow veg, and he reminded me to keep hold of eggshells and coffee grinds, but of course I have horse stables next to me, so I can get some manure and plenty of fresh compost in the earth. So it'll be really fun to get growing and learning more about growing food and eating it, because it's so abundant, and eating more seasonally, and even the food you grow yourself is really optimal for your body. If you can feel it, if you're connected to your body. And I had a chat with one of my clients this morning, and she's becoming more aware that some of the hormonal imbalances could be to do with plastics and drinking even from plastic bottles. And so there's something about when you're foraging to give thanks for the earth that provides all of the wonder and magic for us. Anyway, back to potting my indoor plants. So we're still getting some frost in the morning, so I can't quite get round to potting my flower pots for my balcony and my front door. There's quite a few of those now, but I have bought quite a bit of flowers, and I also got me some tomato seeds, and then we'll obviously be getting some more seeds for when we pot the beds, and then we're gonna get some potato tunnel things as well. So yeah, too frosty for the outdoor plants, but for quite a few days I've been feeling this inner prompt, I think because the sun is out and it's nearing the equinox. I've wanted to do quite a deep spring clean, and I watched a amazing woman that I found on TikTok, and she was saying how she put all of her indoor plants, put them outside in her courtyard. And I was like, okay, it's time. And she also gave this really lovely technique of boiling herbs, rosemary, hyssop, lemon, I think, and cleaning her doors and windows. So I did the same, and I also ended up lighting rosemary, those like diffusers where you put some essential oil in water and then you light a candle and it fills the airwaves. So I was burning rosemary, and then used the concoction to clean all of my windows, which I haven't actually done since I moved in, which they were pretty dirty. So I cleaned with this kind of rosemary concoction. I cleaned, look, cars very rarely go by here. I cleaned all my windows and my doorways, and then just did a big indoor clean, and I ended up repotting and cleaning out all of my plant pots. There were loads. Putting them outside, letting them get some fresh sunlight, and enjoying the process thoroughly. And then, of course, the wonderful reward is just how lifted and amazing the house feels after. I live in a country cottage in the southwest of England, although the ongoing thing as an immigrant is people here ask me where I'm from, because I grew up in Canada, so I have a Canadian North American accent. But when I go back to Canada, which I haven't been back to Canada since 2019, when I go back to Canada, my fellow Canadians ask me where I'm from. So I have a bit of a weird hybrid accent. So here I am. It's so delish. I'm looking forward to adding this to my meal tonight. I'm picking wild garlic, and I wanted to share with you the foraging adventure, because I don't always bring my phone out when I go walking, but I do listen to podcasts sometimes, and I was in the middle of an astrological podcast, which I wanted to share. You can hear the British in your words. See, that happens sometimes. I'm trying to think of some that I say, but maybe it will come to me. So here we are, picking the wild garlic for a bit of a feast, and it grows in abundance, and like the name, smells of garlic. And again, it's one of those things of giving thanks. I'm a non-radical vegan. I've recently started eating eggs. I try to make sure they're organic and free range. Well, they are, because I have no desire to eat battery cage eggs, I care about the compassion and the way we treat animals. I call myself a non-radical vegan because I do get that we've had this connection with animals and the cycle of life, but I'm somebody who talks about veganism from a point of view: if you're going to eat meat, you should be able to face the slaughter and be grateful. And in our weird corporatized profit over people and profit over nature world, we don't respect the creatures, and it's so freaking sad. The beautiful British countryside, out for a little forage walk. That was not my intention, by the way. I was just walking, and then I saw the wild garlic, and I was like, oh, I shall pick some. And then I had a handful, and I was like, well, I'll share this with the YouTube community. Hala hala. And then this is another little river stream, which I'll break through the gate, which clearly has fallen. I just think if we were all looking after ourselves, listening to our bodies, getting peaceful, so that we can look after one another, heal stuff, what a different world we would live in, And that, from my own personal experience, the more we live in alignment with our heart and our soul, the less we need the stuff. And I continue to actually be quite proud of myself. There's one item, it's a guilty pleasure. I buy bottled sparkling water. I know I do have a soda stream as well. Anywho, I try not to be too hard on myself. But I've been only buying from the local farm shops. So supporting small business and getting better produce, and obviously my fresh, organic, free-range eggs, from a local farm. And then there's a few of my neighbors who actually sell their eggs as well for like £1. It's way cheaper and better, way better quality. If you've ever known the difference, here I am propagating veganism, talking about eating eggs, but you hear me out. You know, the hens will lay the eggs and they'll not turn into chickens anyway. It's like having ovulation, right? So I kind of figure, plus it's a really good source of protein, and I don't eat any of the fake meat stuff either. I don't dig on that. I prefer to eat like just all real food, whole food and whatnot. I think I lost my train of thought because here we are at a beautiful little river stream, and with a friend of mine, this river stream will lead down into like quite a big pool down the way. And I think how fun would it be to get, if it was warm enough, you'd just have to wear your bathing suit, but get a wetsuit on, get one of those big inner tubes and just have a float down the river. Wouldn't that be fun? Is it not too early for wild garlic? Well, I always thought it was kind of later in the year as well, but well, no, because I'm picking it. and I'm sure some of it's more baby, but this is my little foraging treat for today, which are pretty big, robust, full-grown leaves. I'm excited to eat it, I'm not gonna lie. Get my fresh greens. I cooked up some courgettes, and I'm gonna probably have some couscous and courgettes with some little bit of oil and maybe an egg. I don't know. It smells delicious. It smells like garlic. And you said Devon, yeah. Where are you in Devon? North Devon. Deep in the countryside. I live about 20 minutes from any civilization other than my country neighbors, and most of them are farmers or, you know, farm folk. My landlady has about 7 horses. It's a good life. It's a quiet life. It's a simple life. Josh Parker, what up? He used to live in South Devon. I've I volunteer for an organization called Freely Given Retreats, and most of the retreats are held on Dartmoor. And I've been to like Totnes, and a good friend of mine, she's in like sort of central East Devon. Devon is one of the bigger counties, isn't it? It's fairly vast. But I've lived all over North Devon, Bronte, Barnstaple, Ilfracombe, Lee Bay, South Moulton, and now I'm deep in the countryside. I'll refrain from giving my exact location for security reasons. It smells delish. I don't know about the seasonal effect. I'm pretty sure it starts I feel like it would start spreading like I guess it's spreading now. Let's not try to pretend like I know too much about nature, because I don't, but I know what wild garlic is, and I will pick it if it's in abundance, and I will give thanks for it, because it's a holla shazam kind of vibratory. For sure, I am unmarried. And at this stage in the game, you know, it's just, we all have our lives. Of course, we live in a world that people like to have their opinions and judgments, but I endeavor to just do all the inner work and just and try to live my best life or whatever, which is just simple and quiet. Summertime in the England vibe is good. There's some festivals that happen which can be quite fun. I especially like the little hippie ones where there's like less than 1,000 people, and I'll get invited to teach yoga because I don't like to have to pay to go to festivals. And maybe one day I'll get myself a little camper van, and so I can attend them with greater ease. It's one of the best parts of the UK. Straight up, Josh, I have traveled extensively through Wales, Ireland, Scotland, and the world. I've lived in London, I lived in Liverpool, so I have a little you know, I got guided down here. I was in Devon, North Devon, 2011, and I stayed for about 8+ years, and I went through pretty bad turbulent time from really about 2017 until more recently. And I've traveled all over Europe, India, Indonesia, Morocco. I was in Morocco recently. And I was in Portugal for a month in the summer 2019, and I moved to Bristol because I just didn't know what the heck I was supposed to do, and I felt guided. I was like, okay, I'll go to Bristol. And I rented a room, and then I ended up about 5 months in, I was having financial collapse and having such a hard time and not adjusting well to city life. And a friend of mine asked me to dog sit and cover her yoga classes back in Portugal. So I went to Portugal. When I was in Portugal, the pandemic was starting, and the woman I was living with evicted me, which was brutal. I remember vomiting for 24 hours straight. I think I had a bit of a bug, but it all lined up with just this absolute chaos. And thank all that is mighty, because I had no money and I got evicted, although I was managing just to scrape by and pay her rent and living off of beans on toast and like celery. And a friend reached out. I put a share, I think, on Facebook, and then I deleted it out of shame because I was so ashamed of being evicted and being in such turbulence and instability in my life. And of course, I don't have like family in this country or anything. And a friend that just I think knew me through online was like, hey, I just saw your post. I think you've deleted it, but I have a room in Cornwall. And I was like, oh, thank God. And a few serendipitous things landed. So I end up in Cornwall, and in that moment, pandemic happened. I had online clients, or I had like previous yoga clients come back to me and ask for online work, which is now like all my work is online. And I started kind of restabilizing. He was charging me really, really cheap rent. And then I got a gig back in North Devon and ended up living in a community in North Devon and teaching beach yoga, starting to get more clients. Things started to stabilize. Things have continued to be really intense and deep, but I end up back in North Devon. And for the first time, I'm 42 years old. I'll be 43 in April. For the first time in my life, I thought, this is my home. This is where I'm meant to be. And I can remember a couple years ago, I did a road trip up to Scotland because we think both my parents are adopted, so we don't really know our heritage, but through DNA testing, we do know that my mom's mom was Scottish and my dad's family is English. And so I remember we did a road trip up to Scotland to see a friend of mine for a day's yoga retreat. And the further away we drove from Devon, the more I missed it. And those just these little things that I'm like, oh my God. And because I'm a bit of a, free spirit wanderer type, and yet because of what I've been through, I'm super duper aware that we all need like a place to call home. And yes, home is where the heart is, right? But when we're a seeker and when we might be looking for where we're meant to be, where we're meant to land, where we're meant to be able to rest and ground, Devon is my home. Isn't that so special? It's special to me because I've never felt at home. I never knew about that until you do. And I couldn't ask for a more beautiful place to call home. Even when I travel and Morocco, Portugal, Indonesia, these are beautiful places in the world, and I have a deep resonant connection to them. But even having just spent 3.5 weeks in Morocco last month, after a bit, you're like, I want to go home. I need the green. I need the wet. I don't know, there's something about the air in Devon or being close to the sea. I'm about, half hour, 40-minute drive to the coast where I can go surfing, and yeah, it's pretty spade. Hey, cool, Josh. Nice to meet you. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for being here. I'm gonna carry on my walk, and I'm not gonna embarrass myself as I start huffing and puffing, getting up this hill. Nice to meet you, Josh Parker. Thanks for being here. Give her an old like or subscribe if you want to follow the journey of all to love. It's been a bit of an epic one. But mostly, I wish you a great day. Thanks for sharing a little bit of yourself and your story. And thank you for the recommend of the wild garlic and nettle soup. Ooh, spot on. Nettle, those stingy old nettle-y things. Those are fantastic to make in tea. They're super, as we're sharing here, it's super nutritionally dense food, isn't it? And the more local, like the food that grows on our footsteps is really, it does make sense, is the food that we're meant to eat. And it's a privilege to buy pineapples all year round, but you know, we could indeed be going to those tropical places to buy or eat those places. Have you ever had jackfruit in India? Holy shit, it's like nature's candy. But I'm not gonna eat jackfruit here, not in this country. That's so cool that I remind you of your auntie. Hala, hala, hala. Josh and his auntie. Everybody else who's come along to this share. Great to be here with you. I hope you have a magical day. I hope the world can come back home. It's a good feeling, you know, to be yourself, to know who you are, and to trust that you're safe here, especially with all this craziness going on. But straight up, a lot of the stuff that we're bought and sold, we don't need it. And it doesn't actually make us happy. Not in truth. It might give us these quick fixes, but true well-being is found in the heart and the land, you know, right here. Have a wonderful day, you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being my internet friends. And for subscribing and sharing and doing all that juicy internet stuff. But otherwise, let's get off our phones and enjoy the nature. Enjoy the nature. Big hugs. Vibrational hugs and kisses. And I'll see you soon.